Hi, thank you for tuning into the Tom Patelson Show. You saw the link. I have a guest host today. With me is KO the Knockout. What up, KO?
What up? Thanks for having me on the show.
Certainly. We've been rehearsing this idea. We've been talking about doing this show for 2 years.
2 years, been that long?
It has been, well, it's been close. In May, it'll be 2 years that you and I have been talking about doing the show, talking about bad movies that we think you should see.
You need to see at least one time.
Need to see.
Even if you don't get through the whole movie, you need to try to watch these movies.
Try to watch them.
They're great to me.
Yeah, they're movies we love because everyone has these guilty pleasure movies in their lexicon, in their head of things that other people that they love. They're guilty pleasure movies, and these are ours. These are our top 10. We have our notes, but we have not. I don't know KO's list. I don't know what you're about to say, so we're going to go from 10 to 1. So do me a favor, hit me with your first movie. What is number 10?
My first movie? Oh man, it's a great movie, phenomenal. Not really, but Trespass, directed by Walter Hill, starring Ice-T, Ice Cube.
There you go.
Bill Paxton.
Oh, Bill Paxton.
William Sadler. I think that's how you say it.
William Sadler? Yeah.
Yeah. The guy from Die Hard 2. That's how I remember it. But yeah. This is what really gets me because I've been watching this movie for years and I never thought it was that great. It's very entertaining because of how bad it is. Sorry, Ice Cube, Ice-T. Don't be mad at me. But anyways.
It's got both ices. It's got both ices.
Both ices.
I don't remember much about the movie. I remember are they cops or are they criminals?
It's about firemen and criminals. I'll get to that because recently watching it, I saw who the writers are. Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. For those who don't know who that is, just go Back to Your Future. But anyways.
Seriously, Back to the Future, Robert Zemeckis. Wow.
Yeah, I'm kind of trying to figure out what in the 121 tequila shots they was thinking when they wrote this movie. But it's a pretty.
When year did that come out?
1992.
1992. This was
about a year after about 2 years after Boys in the Hood and
right.
A few years after New Jack City. And it pretty much seemed like they just took Ice-T and Ice Cube and took those roles and said, here, let's put you in this movie. And they said they wrote that movie. I'm trying to figure out who they talked to get the slang because it's a lot of pretty funny lines.
A lot of ridiculous slang.
Yeah, and I want to know what part of the hood they went to.
Number 10 is for KO is Trespass.
Trespass, great movie from the early 90s.
My number 10 comes from 1984, and it stars Tim Matheson, Stephen Furst, and it is called Up the Creek. Up the Creek, which is about a group of college kids who are clearly between 30 and 40 years old. I'm not kidding. Tim Matheson played Otter from Animal House, and Stephen Furst played Flounder. And this was soon after that, 4 years after that came out, that they're still playing college kids, and they go up to enter a river rafting competition. I know, it's good. River rafting competition where they're the rich guys and they're the poor guys. They're basically Delta House, and they win, and he gets the girl at the end, and they're a bunch of, Up the Creek. It's bad, and you should absolutely watch it. Absolutely watch Up the Creek.
He just put me on because I haven't seen that, so I might have to watch that tonight.
See that? Number 10, Up the Creek. Give me number 9. What is your pick for number 9?
Oh man, this one is another great one. Not really, but anyway. Deadly Friend.
Oh no, see? You put it on the list.
It's one of Tom's favorite movies.
He's so in trouble for this because we have a movie watching group with a friend of ours, and we said everybody watch this and you watch this, and he tosses on Deadly Friend. So I saw Deadly Friend about 3 months ago, and I haven't forgiven him. We almost weren't going to do this because of Deadly Friend. That is Wes Craven.
Wes Craven. It's right in between Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and 3. And that's another one. I don't know what he was thinking when he wrote this. And, starring the great Christy Swanson before she was slaying vampires, And then what's Anne Ramsey? For those who don't know, she chased a few Goonies and was somebody's mama who got thrown off the train.
Fab, Deadly Friend. Wes Craven, this is just after Nightmare on Elm Street when he was given carte blanche, and I remember the previews watching that as a kid. Like, from the creative master that brought you Nightmare on Elm Street, now Deadly Friend. And oh, wow.
Well, I thought it was great when I was a kid. Just watched it recently. And,
Doesn't age well, but it belongs on this list.
But,
it belongs on this list.
if you want to see some basketballs, knock off some heads, watch Deadly
That's
Friend.
true. Deadly Friend. Don't watch Deadly Friend, but watch Deadly Friend. My number 9. My number 9 comes from 1984 again. I've got 3 movies from 1984. I don't know why.
That's a great year for movies.
This one starred Michael Keaton and Mary Lou Henner, Peter Boyle, Griffin Dunne, Dom DeLuise, and Danny DeVito. It is Johnny Dangerously.
Great one. Great.
Johnny Dangerously is a mock-up movie making fun of gangster movies where Michael Keaton plays Johnny Kelly, and his brother's the DA, but he's a secret gangster called Johnny Dangerously. It's slapstick, goofy,
Joe
stupid.
Piscopo.
Joe Piscopo is in it. Yeah. Alan Hale, the skipper's in it. Alan Hale Jr.'s in it. Because the skipper. Yeah, Johnny Dangerously. It's got a ton of great lines which won't age well, and I watched that during the pandemic because it was on HBO Max.
I remember seeing that as a kid, but I was so young, I just put it at, like, right next to other gangster movies and was kind of confused, like, what's going on? This seemed like a little like too funny.
Yeah, seriously.
I was probably like 6 years old or something, but it was just looking at it like, yo, this ain't like that other movie my dad watches, The Godfather.
The Godfather. It makes fun of all those movies while still being not those. Oh, Johnny Dangerously. Funny. Should watch it. It's pretty bad though. It's pretty bad.
It is bad. Bad but good.
Number 8. Give me number 8.
Oh man, number 8. Desperate Lives.
Oh wow.
You remember this one?
Desperate Lives is what year?
It is 1982. Made-for-TV movie.
Oh, maybe I don't know this.
Made-for-TV movie. It's another movie called Desperate Lives, like years later, but
it's a popular title.
Is the original made-for-TV movie starring Helen Hunt. It's a movie about a teacher who goes to a school and tries to stop all the kids from doing drugs. Just say no, but Helen Hunt didn't say no and smoked some angel dust and jumped out the window. Dramatic scene and scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. Oh, sorry.
You could swear. It's an after-school special? That's what that is. That's a...
After school.
Is this a very special episode of Different Strokes?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. And her little brother in the movie smokes a joint with angel dust in it and drives off a cliff. And as he's driving off the cliff, him and the girl on the passenger seat, they're like, wee, like they're on a swing. Yeah. And they showed us this in 7th grade, like, yeah, you shouldn't do drugs. So we all went and, like, smoke weed afterwards. Yeah, it was great.
I was gonna say, no one's buying any of that, no. Number 8. Number 8 for me is from 1988 is Keenen Ivory Wayans' directorial debut with I'm Gonna Get You Sucka.
Whoa, that's not a bad movie.
No, it isn't, but it gets no love.
It gets no love.
It gets no love. No one watches this movie. It's not great.
That's a great movie.
It's got a bunch of people in it. It's got every Wayans brother. It's got Chris Rock in it. It's got, I wrote down the cast. It's got a bunch of people in it. Antonio Vargas, who is the original Huggy Bear from Starsky and Hutch. Isaac Hayes, Kadeem Hardison.
Dwayne Wayne.
Janet Dubois. Damon Martin. Who was the last one? Oh yeah, Jim Brown and Bernie Casey. It is a movie making fun of blaxploitation films of the 70s like Shaft and Dolomite, and I don't know why no one talks about this movie anymore. Ever since they started to do the scary movies, I'm Gonna Get You Sucka took a back seat.
It was what kind of was like the pre and Living Color.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like the pre and Living Color. Most of the cast of the Living Colors in the movie, except for Jim Carrey and like Tommy Davidson, but like David Allen Greer has a cameo. Yeah, it's a great movie.
I don't know if
For
it's
all my hip hop heads, KRS-One has a cameo. Yeah, you know who that is.
I don't know who that is. You know I don't know who that is. I'm Gonna Get You Sucka from 1988. Absolutely watch it. I don't know how it holds up, but it's getting no love. Getting no love, which is why it's on my list.
So show it some love. It is a great movie.
That was number 8. So number 7 for you.
Number 7.
Or do you want me to skip? I'll go to 7.
Number 7. This one is hard to explain. And once again, these are the views and opinions of the movies we like. We don't care what you think.
We don't.
But Leonard Part 6.
Oh, wow, dude. Bill Cosby's Leonard Part 6?
Horrible movie. I'm not even going to joke and say it's great. Horrible movie. Horrible. Always thought it was horrible when I was a kid. Before I thought he was horrible, I thought it was horrible. Like it's like I can't really even explain what the movie's about, but I'll try to. It's about a ex-spy who owns a restaurant, and some dude shows up and tries to kill him, and his daughter shows up with a guy half his age and says she wants to get married to him, and then he rides what is it? An ostrich out of a window.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and
I've not seen Leonard Part 6.
they keep showing him going to dinner with his ex-wife, and she keeps like throwing food on top of his head the whole movie. And yeah, that's what the movie is about.
And that's it.
And
that's the movie.
You
right
should just try to watch 5 minutes of it just to even be like, who the hell wrote this movie? And yeah, it's horrible. And the funny story about that. So you remember video stores?
Hell yeah, I do.
You know, remember Blockbuster Video, Movie King, all that stuff. But so as a kid, you know, Saturday nights, I always wanted to go to the video store and grab a movie, you know.
Yep.
So my mom always take me to the video store. So anything I saw like on TV or something, if I thought like I missed something, like I saw Leonard Part 6 coming out, and I'm like, hold up, I've never seen Leonard Part 5, 4, 3, 2, or what? So I keep going to the video store, and I'm asking them like, yo, do you have Leonard Part 1 for? And I remember them looking at me like, what the hell are you talking about? Like,
You can't call it that without calling that. I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be funny, like Naked Gun 2.5.
Yeah, but
you
Leonard
know.
Part 6, especially in the 80s, it was all types of movies that had a Part 2 and Part 3. Like,
Man.
yeah,
But we love the 80s, as you can tell. All our movies is from the 80s.
we do.
Except for this one. Number 7. We're all big on the Brendan Fraser train right now after he won his Oscar for The Whale. But in 1994, Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, and Adam Sandler were members of the Lone Rangers. The movie is Airheads. What else I got about Airheads? Written by Michael Lehman and starring Brendan Fraser, Steve Buscemi, Adam Sandler, Chris Farley, Ernie Hudson, Michael McKean, Harold Ramis, Judd Nelson, Michael Richards, and Joe Mantegna, just to name a few.
He was in that?
Yeah, I don't know exactly where.
Oh, man. Wow.
3 guys have a band and they want the band to get played, so they hijack a radio station and put a gun to Joe Mantegna's head, which is a squirt gun, what he doesn't know at the time, convincing them to play their CD. It's ridiculous, it's silly, it's stupid, it's got a big fun ending, and I love it. It's great. But is it good? No. It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not
I remember
good.
that.
But you should see
It's a must
it.
see.
You should see it. It's funny, and by the way the band members act as a member of several bands at one point in time in my life, it's dead perfect. It is dead perfect how band guys think when you're in your 20s. Oh, yeah, it's great. Fantastic. That is number 7, Airheads.
All right, so we're on number 6.
I believe we're on number 6.
Number 6. All right, this one, I think it's one of your favorites. Cool as Ice, starring the Vanilla Ice himself.
Oh, no, it isn't. From 1980...
From 1991.
1991, which is when is I mean, this is at the top. This is Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah, this is when he was on top.
I was in college when Vanilla Ice came out, and
Look,
let's be honest, broke the color barrier for white rappers.
Oh, nah, don't.
No, I wasn't going there.
Don't front on the Beastie Boys like that.
No, hell no. Hell no. Oh my gosh.
But
Vanilla Ice, Cold as Ice. Was this a made for TV?
Cool as Ice. Nah, it wasn't. It was in the theaters.
Cool as Ice.
I never saw it until it like came up when it was on TV because like I
can't
went
think of-
to the movies to see like Vanilla Ice.
Is anybody else in it? Did they get anybody to act with him?
See, you know, me being a movie buff, I remember some of the people in the movie. You ever seen CB4? Diesel D, who played Chris Rock's DJ in the movie.
CB4 is a great movie.
Great movie. Not on my list, but great movie.
Because it's a great movie.
But he's the only other person I recognize in the movie. But it's pretty much about a family who's like in this suburban town under witness protection. But the daughter of the daughter of the family pretty much likes to ride horses and just, you know, a nice, sweet Southern girl. And Vanilla Ice shows up to the town as a rapper, riding this like green motorcycle around with his crew, and ends up in a bunch of fight scenes and gets stabbed in the butt at the end.
Well, that's not bad. That's not what's wrong with that. You know, Jim Cotta was going to be on my list, you know, but that's just a bad movie, and you shouldn't watch it. But Jim Cotta. Cool as Ice.
Cool as Ice.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Jim Cotta isn't on your list?
It's not.
Oh man, I thought it would be.
I was going to put it on there.
Oh.
We were watching scenes from Jim Cotta. I brought up a scene.
Jim Cotta is.
Oh my gosh.
I'm surprised that got past me as a kid.
That was your number 6?
Number 6.
All right. My number 6 is from 1984 again. I don't know why 1984 is such a great year for a movie, but it is. This one stars Tom Selleck, Gene Simmons, Cynthia Rhodes, and Kirstie Alley. It's called Runaway. Runaway is a dystopian future type thing where robots are more prevalent than ever, and Gene Simmons plays a crazy madman who makes these tiny spider robots which can kill people and bullets that can turn corners. And Tom Selleck, as the robot expert police officer, has to catch him. Oh, it's not good, and it's so good. It's so good. Gene Simmons is great.
It was entertaining. I remember watching it. It was one of those movies, you know, I watched a few times when I was.
It was, Gail and I grew up in the age of HBO where there was only a couple of movies shown at a time, so when they showed Runaway, it was on every couple hours. Yeah. Every couple hours it was just gonna show again. There's a lot of movies in our lives that were that.
Yeah.
That were that movies of overplaying and overplaying and overplaying.
Like all the Police Academies, which are great movies. Not all, but most.
Police Academy 1 could be watched, maybe. You can skip the rest.
You can't hate on 2 and 3.
I'm gonna hate on 2 and 3. I can't. Look, I know Bobcat Goldthwait's in second.
You can't hate on Captain Mauser.
It's terrible. Oh, they're so
So
terrible.
who? Captain Mauser or Captain Harris?
No, Captain Harris. Captain Harris. Captain Harris is Rizzo from MASH.
G.W. Bev.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
I don't know his name.
See,
See, that would be it.
he was in a lot of 80s movies.
Okay, number 5.
Yeah, number 5.
Number 5 from my list.
Let me hear it. Countdown.
From 1992. From director Francis Ford Coppola. From the 1897 novel, this is Bram Stoker's Dracula. Starring Gary Oldman, Winona Ryder, Anthony Hopkins, and Keanu Reeves, just to name a few.
Yeah.
I'm a big lover of the genre, and I'm a big lover of Dracula movies and about vampire movies, and Bram Stoker's Dracula has a lot of issues. Keanu Reeves, Winona Ryder being 2 of them.
Anthony Hopkins is in that too, right?
He plays Van Helsing to Gary Oldman's Dracula, who was great. And the whole idea that they turned Dracula into a love story is okay, but I saw a video, and I'll include the link if I can find it, and it was called like a defense of Bram Stoker's Dracula, because somebody was pointing out how good it is, because Francis Ford Coppola used nothing but old school film techniques to create it. He did a lot of backwards scenes.
I didn't even know he directed that.
No?
Nah.
Oh,
I actually probably haven't seen that movie or watched it since the 90s.
It is perfect for this list. Is it good? Not really, no. It's got some issues with it, and I think it's good. You should watch it anyways for being what it is. Not to mention there's a graveyard scene where someone has sex with what looks like a monkey. So
I'm gonna have to go back.
Dracula turns into a hairy monkey guy for some reason. They never explain why, and he doesn't do it in any other scene. I'm not quite sure why it happens, but there it is.
He didn't turn into a werewolf or some shit?
No, he turned into this thing, which is, I guess that's his version of a werewolf in the movie. I don't know, but yeah, absolutely watch it because of Gary Oldman. Because Gary Oldman's great in everything he does. So.
I'll go back and watch it because I love Gary Oldman.
Exactly. 1992, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Yeah. Number 5. What you got? Hit me. Hit me.
Oh man, countdown. The great Leonard Isaac Kennedy. Y'all don't know who that is. Better go back. Had a beautiful wife named Jane Kennedy. Anyways, Penitentiary 2.
Not the original Penitentiary.
Not the original, which is a ridiculous movie too, but part 2, starring, Leonard Isaac Kennedy.
Penitentiary 2?
Ernie Hudson.
Okay,
one of
Ghostbusters.
his first movies. Mr. T before Rocky and DC Cab.
Really?
Yep, because this was 82.
Did he have a
Both
mohawk?
Those were 80. Yeah, he was still Mr. T.
Okay, still look like Mr. T.
Yeah, still the same. I pity fool. Still the same person. But and I should know his name. I feel bad. Don't mean to disrespect you like that, brother. But you know, one of the most famous little people of all time who proves that black don't crack because he looked the same since the 70s till now. What's the homeboy's name from?
We're gonna put his name in the description, or we'll put his name on screen right now with a picture of him because I don't know who he's talking about. I have not seen Penitentiary.
Bad Santa. Bad Santa. He was in Bad Santa.
Oh, damn it!
Yeah, sorry. I should know your name, brother.
I don't know his name either, which is a shame because he's awesome. He's
tons of movies.
He is so funny. He's so funny.
Well,
Bad Santa. I weigh 92 pounds. Love that, man.
What up? Me, myself, and Irene. He was great in that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was in I'm Gonna Get You Sucka.
What is the?
He was the Evans brother.
Oh hell.
From Under the Hat.
So, what is the plot of Penitentiary 2? Or is there a plot to
the plot of Penitentiary 2 is, if you remember Penitentiary 1, to all my classic movie heads out there.
Don't know this one.
Too Sweet, because that was his name. He was a boxer named Too Sweet. Yeah, pretty funny. Inmate named Too Sweet. But anyways, gets out because in the first movie, he wins the boxing match and gets parole. So he gets out, he's trying to go clean, and then his enemy from in jail from the first movie gets out, kills his girlfriend. So he has a fight with him and goes back to jail, and that's how he starts boxing again. And then the movie is just kind of like Leonard Part 6 at that point. I don't know what it's about. And
don't know what's happening, but he's back in jail boxing for his life.
Yeah, and Mr. T appears for no reason, and yeah.
Penitentiary 2. I'll be watching that, and then calling you to hate on you. To hate on you for making me watch Penitentiary 2.
Sorry, some of these movies you may waste an hour and a half of your life, but
I appreciate you bringing up a sequel because my number 4 is a sequel. My number 4 is a sequel to the 1981 John Carpenter classic, Escape from New York. It is Escape from L.A. Yeah. Escape from L.A. with Kurt Russell and Stacy Keach and Peter Fonda and Steve Buscemi and I think Raul Julia's in it.
Steve Buscemi's in it?
Bruce Campbell, Peter Fonda, Pam Grier is in it. 1996. Snake Plissken is Kurt Russell's greatest character on film. Fantastic. He's an anti-war. He's a war hero from the whatever wars are happening from whenever with and this and that. And L.A. is decimated by an earthquake, and he has to go in there and rescue someone. I can't remember exactly what the plot is because it doesn't matter exactly. But they send in Snake Plissken before they send him to jail, and he's there. It's the post-apocalyptic awesomeness. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that movie like one time back in the day, and haven't really watched it since.
Yes, and you probably shouldn't, but you should, because it's perfect for the list. It's a bad movie you should be watching. And Roger Ebert gave it like 5 stars or 2 thumbs up or something, and I have no idea why. I read his review, and he thinks that it's some grand masterpiece of satire, and I'm down with that. But yeah, 1994, is that when it is? Yeah, 1996, John Carpenter's Escape from L.A.
I remember when that came out, and I was like, hold up, it's a little too late for the sequel, you know. Sort of like, you know, they still trying to make Coming to America and all that.
Oh.
Types, yeah.
Well, in the original in Escape from New York, the first thing says like it's 1994, and the entire Manhattan Island's been turned into a prison. So 1994 is past. So they should have gone a little further in ahead. If you're gonna make a future movie, don't give it 10, 15 years. Say 2100 or something like that. But yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
Escape from L.A. Not good, but great.
I wouldn't even watch it. No, I'm joking.
Penitentiary 2. What's your number 4?
Number 4. Oh man, this movie is once again not a great movie, but as many times as I watch it, I still almost break a rib laughing because I can't believe somebody actually wrote this. Orgasmo.
Oh, I love Orgasmo.
Orgasmo.
That's from Trey Parker and Matt Stone.
Matt Stone.
From South Park.
1997.
Oh, it's not good, and yet it is.
But yet it is. It's a must watch. It's pretty funny. It's so ridiculous.
What is funny. I can't even tell you the plot of Orgasmo.
It's about a Mormon who's going door to door and ends up on a porno set.
Right.
And
he enters the industry.
And he ends up being a porno actor. Doesn't participate in any of the sex. He's an actor, which brings in one of the funniest scenes and lines of the movie. They bring in the stunt cop every time any sex goes down. And then he has a sidekick named Choder Boy. And and then...
Who's the actor from Basketball?
Yes. Sorry, I don't know your name.
Me neither. I don't know
but
his name.
Pretty funny guy. Actually, the funniest person in both movies to me. But they ended up, he pretty much has a gun on his hand that he can shoot at people and make people have orgasms, and that's how he starts fighting crime.
What year is that?
1997.
1997's Orgasmo.
Orgasmo. Right around the time
God.
South Park had just started to blow up, and it's ridiculous and funny. Actually, quick story about the first time I saw that. I'm from the East Coast, and now here in California, it's always some. Am I allowed to talk about this on your show?
Talk about what you want.
There's some great strains of marijuana, but back where I come from, it wasn't always the great strains. And I just remember this night, I had a friend that came through like, hey man, I got some new stuff called like Hydro, and we like, all right, cool, let us get it. We roll up a couple blunts, and one of my friends doesn't even smoke weed like that, so he was sitting there geeking out, and we're going through the channels, and Orgasmo's on. We don't know what it is or nothing, and we just start watching it, and lost our fucking minds.
It is a goofy movie. It's good.
So it's always been classic to me because, it's pretty classic. But I think it's better than basketball.
Oh, I don't know. I like basketball. I don't know if it's... I mean, it's no South Park the movie. South Park the movie is a great movie and has a great soundtrack and it's all that. That's an actual good movie on my list, but...
I think their best one is Team America.
That's pretty wicked, too.
Team America.
Team America is really good. Yeah. It makes really good fun of the Thunderbirds television series from the 60s.
Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, shit.
I think it's the 60s. I'm not sure if the 60s or 70s. When I saw it, it was reruns because I'm not as old as I think.
Well, I'm younger than you, and I used to watch the reruns.
Oh, Thunderbirds. Oh, so good. Marionettes. Anywho, back to the list. Number 3. Okay. I mentioned that we have a movie watching club with a friend of ours, and we had to watch Deadly Friend. My number 3 is a movie I made them watch, and what do you know? It's from 1984. It is the movie Streets of Fire. Streets of Fire with Michael Paré, Diane Lane, Rick Moranis, Willem Dafoe in one of his first roles, who plays the villain. And it says in the very beginning, the opening credits, it says, a rock and roll fable. It's set in what looks to be 1955, but nothing's ever mentioned. It's always night. There's no daylight scenes, I don't think, except for a couple. The wardrobe looks like the 1950s, but it never says it. It's a kidnap movie where they kidnap Diane Lane. Michael Paré is the old boyfriend back in town, and he's tough as nails. Got to take on the big bad guys who have a ridiculous gang of leather jacketed wearing.
Well, can't forget about the singing group with Robert Townsend and Stoney Jackson, who is also in Trespass, number 10.
That is correct. That is correct. Yeah, they play a band that they wind up picking up with, and they travel the movie with. Oh yeah, it's great. Except it isn't. It's not. You know.
Looked like it was filmed on the set of Kids Incorporated. You remember that?
I don't remember that.
1984 show.
But seriously, Streets of Fire has a great soundtrack. That's where Dan Harmon's "I Can Dream About You" comes out. That's from that soundtrack and that movie. Streets of Fire, number 3. What you got?
Number 3 is from one of our hikes that we were talking about.
Okay.
That we discussed movies. See if you remember watching this one. Number 3 is Death Wish 3. That
Death Wish 3 with Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson and a bunch of other actors that couldn't name, and sorry we never seen you in any other movies except for one. You got a little cameo from Alex Winter, Bill from Bill and Ted. But
we also have Marina Sirtis from Star Trek: The Next Generation. Deanna Troi is in it.
Who's she?
She's the wife who gets attacked.
Oh, all right.
Awful. For those who don't know the Death Wish franchise starring Charles Bronson, the original one is his wife gets raped and murdered, or just murdered, I can't remember. He becomes a subway vigilante with a pistol and kills a bunch of people, and the first movie's dark. The second one, for some reason, the same thing happens, and he does the same thing, and then in Death Wish 3, he shows up at a friend's apartment in a town run by a gang. There's no police anywhere. There's so much ridiculous violence. You should absolutely watch it.
You should. This is a must see.
Must watch of goofy bad movie. Yes.
Smoke some weed, have a glass of wine, and watch it. You'll love it.
Yeah, one of the best parts is spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. One of the best parts is at the end. The people in the town finally get frustrated with it, and they arm themselves, and to watch them just get so excited murdering people on the street. It's all like, yeah, shoot him, shoot that guy.
With the lady, she's like, that guy stole my pocketbook 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, she's excited because of the giggler. His name is the giggler. You won't understand this, but he giggles. He giggles when he steals people's purses, and then, of course, he gets shot in the back by Charles Bronson in his Wildy Magnum.
Oh, yeah, remember? Yeah, the gun shows up in the mail.
Yeah, he orders it.
For his mail. He shows up, and it's this big, long Magnum.
Giant pistol, looks like a rifle. Yes, Death Wish 3. Excellent choice, my friend. Excellent choice. Number 2. Number 2 is on everybody's list. Number 2 is on absolutely everybody's list. It should be number 1 on most people's lists, and I am including it, even though it is a classic and everybody loves it. It is not good. Okay? It is from 1989, starring the late Patrick Swayze. It is the incomparable Roadhouse. Roadhouse is a brilliantly bad movie. Again, a movie about a loner who comes to town, run by the bad guys. There is zero police presence except for one sheriff who you see at the end, I think. And he runs a bar as a bouncer, because that's the greatest career in the world, as a bouncer. He's the cooler who runs the bouncers. And he takes over this, but he strolls into town, he falls in love, but you can't get close to him. You can't get close to Patrick Swayze, you can't get close to Dalton. Of course, he's only got one name, his name is Dalton. But Roadhouse is great. It's got the Jeff Healey Band as the house band. If you haven't heard them, rest in peace, Jeff Healey. Starring the late I think he's dead. Ben Gazzara plays the villain, and he's terrible. And Sam Elliott's in it, and everything Sam Elliott in is great. It should be number one for my list because it is not a good movie, and you should absolutely watch it. It is Roadhouse.
You said that should be number one?
That's my number one, but it isn't. I've got another one.
Well,
What's your number two?
Oh, man. For all my people who were children in the 80s, this movie probably gave you some nightmares like it gave me. Number two, The Peanut Butter Solution.
The
Peanut Butter Solution.
Oh,
A Canadian movie starring, who knows, because I don't know any of these actors, but sorry, not to be like because they're Canadian, I just don't know any of the actors because
I'll look it up.
this is the only movie.
If anybody's in it, I'll post it now. You'll see it on the screen if I find out who any of these people are.
But so it's pretty much about a kid who and his friend who go into a haunted house, and he gets frightened by a ghost, loses all of his hair. Then two friendly ghosts show up and make a solution out of peanut butter. So he puts the solution on his head, and then his hair won't stop growing. So he goes to school, and throughout the day, by the time he gets home, his hair is like down to his legs.
He has hair from ghosts?
No, two friendly ghosts show up and make a solution for him. He makes a solution out of peanut butter, puts it on his head. It makes his hair like grow nonstop. Then he gets kidnapped.
Well, of course he does. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was thinking that he wouldn't get kidnapped.
He gets kidnapped by some weird dude that was his art teacher and has a whole factory full of children. This is a weird movie. Like,
Canada.
I'm sorry when you watch it. And well, and a factory full of children who are like his slaves who make paintbrushes out of this kid's hair. So his family go on a hunt to find him, and every time they're like on a big chase scene. Celine Dion has a song that comes on when she was about 14 years old. That the only reason why I know this is Wikipedia. But
This is a spectacular choice. I've never seen this movie. This is a spectacular choice that a kid is kidnapped because he can make brushes.
paint
They're like, we gotta get that kid. We gotta get that kid because he's got all the hair we can make brushes out of.
and the guy kidnaps all the kids. His name is the Senor.
The Senor?
The Senor.
Peanut Butter Solution from
Peanut Butter
1982.
Solution. I've recently just watched this with two friends, and they were looking at me like, "Yo, why did you make me watch that? What's going on?"
Oh my God. Do you want to do number one?
Oh man, my number one is touring. Look, you should do yours first.
Should you do mine first?
You
Okay.
should do yours first because mine.
We were gonna do another list of favorite B movies. Now, because we haven't done that, because we're talking about movies that are bad that you should still watch, number one is my favorite of all time, B movies. It is from producer Roger Corman. It is 1975's Death Race 2000. Death Race 2000, starring David Carradine, Sylvester Stallone, Martin Kove is in it, and a few other people who I don't know who are in a lot of B movies. Now, it got remade recently, the last 10, 15 years with Jason Statham, and the plot is still the same. They're trying to see how many people they can, well, not really. They're trying to see how many people they can kill on the biggest race of the year. It's the dystopian future. David Carradine plays Frankenstein. Frankenstein is the driver who drives this big car that looks like a snake, and then Sylvester Stallone plays Machine Gun Joe Viterbo with a car with a big knife sticking out of it. And they have to kill people at the end. It is all the race scenes are sped up, so it looks like they're going fast, but they're not. The cars are ridiculous. The deaths are ridiculous. The movie is ridiculous, and I cannot recommend this enough. I really can't. From 1975, Death Race 2000, fabulous, fabulous bad.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I saw it.
Oh, and I saw it during the.
time.
I saw it for the first time on like Cinemax at 2 o'clock in the morning because they would always show movies that kids couldn't watch. We always stayed up and watched them. But I saw it again during the pandemic. Someone uploaded it on YouTube, and no one's reporting it or cares. So you can watch it there. You can watch it here on YouTube if you want. Death Race 2000. Oh, fantastic. Number 1.
That was a good one. That was a good one. So, number 1. Oh, I left something out. 4 of these movies was put out by New World Pictures. You remember New World Pictures? Put out some of the best, worst movies you ever seen in your life.
Is the
In the 80s.
Isn't it the documentary is on Prime about New World Pictures, or is that about
That's about a Canon.
Canon? Right.
Yeah.
New World Pictures, plays a lot of bad. A lot of these category movies are from New World Pictures.
Except for one good one they made that will never be on my list for bad movies. That Tom won't watch and needs to watch.
Why won't I watch it? What is it?
Tough Turf.
I'm not watching that. I'm not watching Tough Turf. He won't shut up about Tough Turf. He won't shut up about Tough Turf, and I'm going to have to watch it because he won't shut up about Tough Turf. I'm surprised it's not on your list. Is it number 1?
It is not number 1.
It isn't.
My number 1. Soul Man.
See Thomas Howell?
Not to be confused with Soul Man. Soul Man.
Oh, jeez.
I found it online, finally.
Soul Man. I saw this in the theater. See Thomas Howell,
man.
Curtis, The Outsiders.
It's been off the shelves for years because this is one of the worst,
You shouldn't be watching this.
most offensive. You must see to see how ignorant Hollywood was in the 80s.
Tell us the plot of Soul Man.
Soul Man is about
A kid who can't
rich
get into
white
college.
kid whose dad tells him he's not going to pay for college. He has to figure out his own way. So he looks in the paper and he sees an ad for a scholarship for black kids. So he takes some pills to make his skin tan to get dark, pretty much blackface. And he gets accepted to Harvard, goes to Harvard, and thinks it's the coolest thing in the world, and then starts to figure out how blacks are treated in America. But this is not a touching movie. It don't have a good point. James Earl Jones, you ought to be ashamed of yourself being in this movie.
Oh man.
Radong Chung,
Oh.
you get a pass because
Because you're a commando.
you've been in a
Radon Chung's a
bunch
commando.
of movies
You get a
that
pass.
aren't that great, but we love you anyway.
Oh my lord, Soul Man.
Soul Man, another New World Pictures. New World Pictures, I don't know what they were thinking about in the 80s. Like, look, let's just put out this.
At the very end, they call him to show up to the big. It's like the end
The
of
big
a
hearing.
hearing. It's like the end
And
of
he
a Son of a
comes
Woman,
to-
and he walks in without the black face on. And walks as himself, and it's a big shocking moment. And he delivers a speech. Who gives a shit?
And then James Earl Jones said, I forgive you. You can come back to the school.
Is that what he says?
That's what he said.
I forgive you.
Look, I just watched it two days ago. James Earl Jones, I was hurt when you told him you forgave him.
It's so bad. I'd forgotten. I'd blocked that out of my memory. Because, I remember, it wasn't politically correct then. I don't know how they made that. I don't know how you make that movie. A modern blackface movie. And then he shows up, he hears this political action group, so he shows up like a member of the Black Panthers. What the hell? Oh,
then
geez,
he go-
Pony Boy.
And then he go, oh, Leslie Nielsen, who plays the racist dad.
Oh, my God.
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen, check with you.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest comedians. We ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you either, James Earl Jones. I'm just joking, but oh man, why did they make this movie?
Soul Man. Oh, Lord.
It had to be number 1. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it, and you got to pay for it. So,
To review my list from 10 to 1. Up the Creek, Johnny Dangerously, I'm Gonna Get You Sucka, Airheads, Runaway, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Escape from LA, Streets of Fire, Roadhouse, and Death Race 2000. Tell me your list.
Trespass, Deadly Friend, Desperate Lives, Leonard Part 6, Cool as Ice, Penitentiary 2, Orgasmo, Death Wish 3, The Peanut Butter Solution, and Soul Man.
Soul Man. Yikes. Soul Man. Oh, that is fabulous. KO, thank you for coming to the show.
Oh, brother.
Appreciate you.
Having me,
Appreciate
man.
having me on that. Like I said, we've been planning this for 2 years.
2 years.
Sit down and to talk movies before I even had the idea to have this show. All right. So appreciate you coming on.
Maybe this can be just volume 1. And
It absolutely is going to be volume 1 because we're absolutely going to talk about more movies in this because this was fun. We're going to do this again.
gotcha.
100%.
Peace.
That'll do it for this week. Thanks to my guest, KO the Knockout, for joining me to talk about bad movies that you should be watching. We'll do part 2, part 3, part 4, you name it. Chime in with your suggestions. Let me know in the comments what we missed. What are your movies you know are bad that you know you love? And we'll try and talk about them on this channel. Till I see you next time, as always, peace, love, live long, and prosper.